Alright, we're officially live. Sorry about that bullshit. Welcome to the Ebon Flow podcast. You're looking at episode number 3. And in this episode, we have a good friend of mine, a native of Chicago. He's been putting his heart and soul into his acting and his music career. But he's taken a little bit of a break from acting, and he's focused a lot more of the attention on the music. And he goes by the name of... Please tell the people.
Deme Truest. Deme Truest.
Emphasis on the truest. And on the E instead of the U. Okay? Thanks for coming on the podcast, man. Just for people that are tuning in now that haven't seen any of the other episodes, I started the Ebon Flow podcast just to basically highlight some of my friends and colleagues and peers in the area, as well as across the nation, whose art I really respect and whose craft I really respect, because we need to support each other. And yeah, I mean, podcasts now are definitely the new form of entertainment, and I'm glad they are because they highlight the conversation instead of the appearance of things. So this will be streamable on iTunes and SoundCloud and YouTube and all that other goodness. So for Deme, for people who don't know about you and have never heard your music, what would you say about your music? Like, let's just start with, why do you make music, and why'd you kind of focus more attention on music than being on stage for acting?
I'll answer the first part of that first, which is like, why do I make music? I make music because music is something that is not forced for me. It's a skill that, I was able to obtain very early, probably just from being an observer and going to church with my mom and, just listening to all the sounds around me that inspired me to always... love music, so it's always been a part of me.
Were you in the choir?
I was in the choir when I was young. I begged my mom to let me be in the choir.
Okay.
And so she finally...
Your mom didn't want you to be in the choir?
I don't think it's that she didn't want me to be in the choir. I just think she didn't know how serious I was about it, because we had to also have, outside rehearsals,
Were you connecting?
Thursday night or something.
Were you connecting with, I guess, the quality of their performance? Because in a lot of choirs, it's about having multiple levels of vocalization, and when they come together, it creates a really powerful sound. So would you say that you were attracted to the sound of music first, or what was being said?
I was attracted to the sound of music first.
Okay.
Yes.
Interesting.
Anytime I think about the first memory that I have of music, I think about being in the church and being how young I was. I think about how small I must have been.
Right.
And then I think about being in this big place with all these sounds that filled up the church.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's my memory.
So are there any other people who do vocals in your family? Was it something, when you first got into music, were other people inspiring you to follow their footsteps, or did you just want to take the chance yourself? I
definitely just started singing. I don't know. I think my family is a loud, rambunctious family. So
okay.
We always have music at entertainment. At parties. Anytime we're entertaining somebody else, there will always be a stereo system, music, probably stepping happening.
Right.
And I think that just sort of seeped into me and everything that I am. And when I was younger, I used to be really annoying because I would mimic a lot of the things that I would see.
Okay.
All the time. That would be singing, making fun of somebody when they're on the phone, like my mom or my aunt or something like that. So I just feel like I just sort of picked those things up, and yeah, I just started. I just never stopped, actually.
So, I mean, we've been friends for a while. I already know a lot about you. You used to tap, right?
Yes.
That was prior to the choir or after the choir?
So it was in between.
In between? Okay.
It was in between. There was a time where I got into the world of like the arts and what that meant, and knowing that there's singing, acting, and dancing and visual arts and things like that. I just wanted to like get my hands in everything.
Gotcha.
So, I was in tap for a few actually a decent amount of time, maybe like half the year when I was like 11. And it just got to be like a little bit like financially taxing for my mom, and so I had to choose between choir or tap, and I chose choir.
Okay.
But then I was reintroduced to tap in high school and college, and then after college.
So when did plays come into play? No pun intended.
Plays. Honestly, I like. The very first role I remember was this church group that was called Divine Interpretation, and it was like led by one of my 7th and 8th grade choir directors, Miss Redmond.
Okay.
And so she would invite us out to take part in this musical thing that she had written, and it would be like biblical stories attached to like famous gospel songs.
Okay.
With like lighting and set design and costumes. Nice. And it was something that I didn't really take serious. I just got up on stage, and I remember like I had the most lines. I don't even remember what my person's name was, but I was like a servant, and I had like this one lengthy little monologue, and I did it, and I remember them telling me like, "Oh my God, that was so good, and I just remember like, what did I do? But what I was doing was I was having fun, and I was playing, and I wasn't putting too many constraints on myself to be the best or whatever. I was just taking the words on the page and just saying them, authentically and honestly.
Right.
And yeah, that's when it started. And like, I remember like, I remember not knowing like how I did what I did at that moment, but I remember it feeling good. Mm-hmm. And so I had decided that when I went to high school, if it ever came up, maybe I would check it out. Maybe I'd check out the theater scene and see what was up.
And so you did a lot of plays in high school?
Yeah, I did a lot of plays and musicals in high school.
Yeah. First, how big were your parts? Were they pretty big?
Yeah, not at first, but like over time, yeah, they started getting bigger. The more time that I put into the theater, and like the more I put into the theater, like the more I got out of it, because my director was like all about the hard work that was behind it,
Right.
And so I auditioned. The first show I auditioned for was Diary of Anne Frank, which probably did not have a lot of room for black people in it. If you're trying to tell the story like authentically,
right?
But I auditioned anyway, and it was like a round table.
Did you audition for Anne Frank?
No. I just like did like a random. I think it was like the guy, whatever the boy's name is in Diary of Anne Frank that she meets and like has a crush on.
Okay.
That guy.
That would have stirred the pot.
So actually, one of my best friends today ended up getting a part, and that we ended up bonding from that. But I auditioned for it, and I ended up not getting it. But then a lot of upperclassmen ended up encouraging me at that point, and they knew I was new, and they were like, "Hey, like that was a great audition, like." You should audition for the musical. Like, we heard you can sing. Like, you should do some other stuff, So I took that and I ran with it, and I just started auditioning for things, and I ended up doing the Scarecrow in The Wiz, and I think that was my first like breakout role in like my theater in high school. And
let me ask you, what's more powerful, a play without song or a play with song?
I mean, I don't know. For me, it's like hard to say, because I've definitely read a lot of plays or a few plays that stick with me. Like one is called that comes to mind is A Lie of the Mind by Sam Shepard.
Okay. And
it's a show about the inside of someone's mind and how it plays tricks on you, and into believing that you're maybe somebody that you aren't, or that someone that you are.
Interesting.
And so it was a really cool concept, and that's it's a show that's a straight, what they call like a straight acting show, and so has no music really at all, just text, and I connected to that text.
Right.
So It depends. It depends on like the situation, because if I hear a song and I'm, I connect to the music, but I may not connect to the lyrics as much, then we're talking about a different answer,
Right. I'm just trying to think because I've seen both. I've been part of both, and I guess it's interesting. I mean, it's like the obvious answer is it's how it's done. If it's done right, it's going to be powerful. If it's not done right, it's not going to be that good. I guess my thing is like when you have a cast that's trying to like sing their heart out and they're going hard with the singing, it's like if the singing's off, then a lot of the play is going to fall apart, I guess. But if it's spoken, it'll fall apart less easily. Maybe, I don't know. I'm just trying to. I
really think that just depends on the company that is performing the material. So if they have a bunch of singers that can carry like the music and the weight of the message, then you have got a perfect combination for an amazing show.
Right.
Like, but if any of that lacks, and it's a musical, if you're off key in a musical, like obviously that is never going to work.
Did you see Ryan Gosling in the new movie in La La Land?
No.
I didn't see it either.
I have not seen it.
I want to see it.
I kind of want to see it.
I'm excited about it. Apparently it's the shit. Apparently it's awesome.
I heard it was great.
But what? But Ryan can't sing.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, like, I'm sure they, like, edited the shit out of, like, what he did. I think it's very smoothed out and it sounds good, but, like, I don't know if that's really Ryan singing. I don't know what the deal is, but I think it would be cool to... There hasn't been many movies that have been made, like, into music and musical movies that have...
Very true. Very true.
Could be cool.
Could be worth a watch.
Yeah, Emma Stone's hot as fuck, too. That's a side note.
Emma Stone is bae.
She gives me an Emma Stone. Anyway, so... We're sipping on some Henny right now. We're drinking on some brews. All right, we're blazing on some trees, and just trying to get the basic facts out from my friend's life here, so that people can get an idea of why he makes the music that he makes and where he's going. All right, because the thing about a lot of artists is that there are a lot of people who try to make their art work and it doesn't work, and oftentimes it's because they don't put enough attention to like their like main art form, you know what I mean? But then there's like another kind of artist who has been able to make things work and it anchors the next art form, and like that's kind of where you fall in. Like you fall into this space where you've had a history and you've had a childhood that was connected to art, was connected to the choir, was connected to tap, was connected to being on stage and doing plays. And now that you're a grown man, you've just now taken the leap of going straight into music, except for, and putting everything else aside. And not only is it working, but people are responding and people are loving the music, and it's quality music. It's not like you were so much better at acting than you were at music. It's like you just put a lot of time into what you do. Talk to me about how you practice. For anything you do, like in the past, how you practice for going on stage. I know that like you would come over here sometimes and you would have like the tea kettle and you'd be like soothing your voice and getting warmed up. But for even just approaching like making an album that you're working on right now, like how do you practice for that?
I keep the tools in my toolbox sharpened.
Hell
like
yeah.
I really, I'm in the process of learning a lesson, and I feel like I'm doing a much better job at it of taking care of myself. Okay. Which I think informs everything else that I do. It sets me up for my entire day. So I've been practicing more mindfulness and a more focused mindset, because that is what you need to see a project through. Yes. As I'm in the middle of a project, it's really hard because when you're your own everything, you have a lot of different hats that you're wearing and a lot of different tasks that need to get done. But if you just bite off a little bit of it every day and, don't make an excuse as to why you couldn't go over this song of yours to be an excuse for me. So each day I do something. I sing every day. Like when I get the chance, I sing. I write a lyric. I write a song lyric every day, every single day.
Okay, so So in order to not get rusty and to be able to write songs at your will, you make sure that you write at least a line a day, so that you kind of get in, you at least touch it for the day. You show up, which is what I would call it. Like, for me, when it comes to writing, like my whole life has just been like one terrible experiment of like how I can manage my mind. You know what I mean? And for me, it's basically the same thing. Like, if I at least show up to the notebook, whether I write one line or I just sit there for like 4 to 5 hours and like I'm just thinking of songs, or I'm, that's probably the most important part for me as well. So when it comes to maintaining the mind and being mindful as a means to stay sharp, what specific things do you do to keep your mind in check and to keep your mind clear, or to keep your energy up?
I like to read.
Okay. Nice.
I do a lot of articles online as well too. Like, I have a lot of different. I love reading the like pop culture magazines. Like, right. I'm trying to think of a few off the top of my head. Wire. Like, I think Vibe. Like, just like Complex, like different things like that, so I stay informed about what's going on in the music world. But then I also love listening to NPR. Like, I love listening to current events and what's going on in the world.
Gotcha.
I think in order to stay growing in your art form, you have to stay learning. Like, you have to always be learning. Yeah. So, I don't know. I practice by learning and not... And telling myself that I don't know everything, and telling myself that there's more growth. I hear so many dope artists out there every day that inspire me to just work a little bit harder on like what I'm doing.
You listen to a lot of new music when it comes out.
Mm-hmm.
Correct. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. No. I mean, I'm just thinking about it for myself, because sometimes I like get into a mood where I want to listen to new music. And then sometimes I'm like so like against it, just because I'm like against it and I'm in my little rapper mind. But like, yeah, I mean, I find that when I listen to new music and it hits the right place and it's actually good, I'm like, I get really inspired.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. I think too, as good as like, sometimes, there's so much, there is so much new music coming out. There's so many artists out there, and it's like, how do you decipher like what from what,
Right.
But you really just like, sometimes I get in the mood where like, okay, I just want to listen to like my old school jams or like whatever. Right. I don't want to like listen to anything current. And that's why you have like the save features on the streaming app, so you can like save it and come back later.
Yep.
And inevitably, like, I go on my app and those like new albums are the first things that I see, and I'm like, bad. I gotta listen to this shit. Like, I have to listen to this. Like,
they're there waiting for you.
Yeah, they are. And it's like, I don't... Yeah, like, there's no, like, timeline to it, but, I kind of get to it when I get to it, but I try to expand my mind. It's good for my mind. I think I have to remember that it's really good. You want to be able to, like, at least have an opinion about the things in the world, and then pick and choose, like, the good stuff that you want to put inside of you. Right. It's like, that's why I have to keep listening to the new stuff.
Yeah, and especially like, when you're entering any industry, like, you should know, like, even if you don't view things as competition and you're your own competition, like, you need to know who else is doing what else they're doing and like what other sounds are out there. That way you don't sound like them. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And I think I said it on Ebon Flow podcast number 1, but like, one of the quotes that like I think about all the fucking time is like, you're gonna sound more like Shakespeare if you never read Shakespeare. And that like boggled my mind for a couple of years, but like, it's the truest fucking statement of all time, dude. And like, you need to know, you need to study. You need to study. Study
the people who are out now and the people that came before you.
Yeah. So
that way you have a clearer direction.
Yeah, and you have and you'll be able to build your own voice through it. Yeah. So something happened recently. Mm-hmm. Recently, an opportunity was presented to you, and you took it, and you went in strides. So talk to the people a little bit about what happened with Noname Gypsy, a.k.a. now known as Noname, the great music that she makes, she was able to go on a national tour with a couple dates in Canada. Mm-hmm. And you've known Noname for a couple years, and so you had a chance to go on the tour. Yeah. How did it go? What happened? Because I already know what happened, but tell the people what happened.
I was already contracted or set to do her 2 show days in Chicago. Mm-hmm. So I was singing background with, it was me, this girl named Sophie, and then my brother Teddy. And so we all got invited to sing background by Noname and Kenya.
Okay.
And so Kenya is the musical director. I have closer ties with Kenya. Kenya was on the Freak Flag record. And she invited us all over. We're on her couch. We're learning our parts day in and day out. Mm-hmm. We actually ended up having a short timeline to learn about 19 or 20 songs, or a little bit over 20. And
they were all Noname songs?
They were all Noname songs. They were solo records or features. But Kenya had arranged the show in such a way that, like, you know, each song would be introduced. So she, like, literally went through Noname's entire catalog of music.
So
by creating, like, a, you know, music around this show.
How many projects does Noname have?
She only has one project. But
one, like, official project, but she has, like, a ton of, like, songs with, like, other people and stuff that, like, aren't necessarily...
Yeah, that are also big.
Right,
and so... you know, it was Kenya's job to, like, literally tie all of those songs in musically, see how they fit together, and, like, organize them.
How'd she do?
I think she did a great job. I think that every single night the audience was crazy.
Dope.
And, like, very receptive to the message that is Noname, which I think is, like, one of love and support and also honesty and of and for the people.
Right.
So... but yeah, you know, I honestly was like I was doing rehearsals. Me and the background singers, after the first night of rehearsal, with Noname, decided to go to this taco spot, and it was like 24 hours or whatever, and we sat in there and we went over our parts, and I just said to somebody, I was like, wow, like in about 4 hours I have to get up and go to work. I have a shift. And I'm like, I have to work from like 8 to 4:30, and I was like,
you know what? I quit.
I was like, well, it gradually came, and I was like, you know what? Like, this is not what I want to do, and I was like, I want to go on tour with him. The background singer supported me in wanting this to happen, but they were not sure because the tour was going to be happening that week, like. Friday, they're leaving. This was like a Monday.
Yeah, and a tour takes a lot of planning.
Yeah, you know, it takes a crap ton of planning. So, between Monday and Friday, I managed to go into work, tell them that this might be happening, talk to a Kenya. She told me that it could be possible, but she wasn't sure. And then I think the next night, I got a call from Noname, and she was like, hey, like I heard that you were interested in coming on tour with us, and... you know, she kind of like asked me, you know, if this is something that I really wanted to do and why, and I told her that I love her message and what her music stands for.
Right. So you were like acquainted with Noname prior to this. You had known her. You had like known her around the city, but you weren't like best friends with her. Like you talk about everything
from open mic nights at Harold Washington Library.
So it was kind of a leap of faith on her part to take you on.
Yeah. Well, she kind of knew me. Her thing was she definitely didn't. She knew that she would have a better time going on tour with people that she was at least familiar with.
Right.
As opposed to, you know, getting people like that she just
like
met.
Hiring people, yeah.
Yeah.
You don't want to hire somebody and then go on a road trip with them for 10 hours. Or way more than 10 hours.
Way more than 10 hours?
I just gave it. But I'm just saying, like, even 10.
But
like,
even 10.
10 with somebody that you don't like is some shit. Okay? I know.
Mm-hmm.
Experience. So talk to me. All right, like, just rewind for a second. So prior to the tour, how many times had you performed your music?
Prior to the tour, I performed my music a handful of times. I would say maybe like 5 to 10 times. Not a lot. I mean, I've done like little like featured performances with friends of mine, but my own, actually less than 10. Like I would say maybe like 5 or 6.
Less than 10, and you hadn't yet released the album. And you're planning to release the album now.
Yeah, it's still not released, yeah.
Okay. But you do have a few songs out.
Mm-hmm.
All right, and one of them, named Freak Flag, which you can download on SoundCloud
And iTunes.
and Spotify.
Everywhere.
And everywhere else. Watch the video as well. It's on YouTube. There's going to be a link below. Check the link below. Alright. Freak Flag, I would say, is like the biggest song that you've made thus far. Just based upon the reach that it's gotten and the response that it's gotten. Let's get into the craft of an individual song. How do you know how serious to take the songs that you make? Because I'm sure, like me, we make a lot of songs. We go through songs. Some songs we end up making and we take seriously. We put a lot of money into it. Some songs we don't. So why did you take Freak Flag seriously, and why did you make a video for it?
Freak Flag was a very personal song to me. I always knew that I had to write a song like Freak Flag, but I never wanted to face the reality of it.
Okay.
And like you asked me before, what did I respond to first, lyrics or sound? I responded to sound first, and sound has always carried me throughout my life.
Gotcha.
So when I went into the studio and I heard Teddy playing this beat, and he's cooking up this beat, I heard something about it that sounded very anthemic.
Right.
And instantly I was I know that if I'm gonna write anything to this, it has to make a statement.
Gotcha.
And so I just decided on that day I was gonna dig down deep and talk about some things that were bothering me.
Right.
Sexuality and family and self-love and individuality.
If you could give him in one line what the motive of this, what the main message of the song is, what would you say it is?
The message of the song is to own who you are.
Right.
Owning who you are.
Even if you're a freak. Even if other people label you a freak, own that.
Even if you are a little bit different. I feel like everybody's a little bit different, but there are some people that are just more willing, or they can't hold back who they really are. There's some people that are breaking through, and they're everybody else is just kind of sitting around watching them.
Right.
Right.
It's my hope, because I know that there's still other people out there. It's my hope that people will see my courage in doing the things that I want to do and chasing my own dreams, that they do the same things for themselves, for their dreams.
Hell yeah.
That's my hope.
What was the process like of writing the song? Did you write it in one day? How did it come about?
I wrote the song in one day, and most of my songs, I write them in one day because, well, let me back up a little bit. The way that I write sometimes is completely, like I was telling you, by music.
Right.
I let the music sort of dictate the topic that I'm going to be speaking about.
Gotcha.
I listen to, how harsh it may sound or how bright it sounds.
Are we talking about? Are we talking about when you say you let the music dictate? Are you saying you let the instrumental that you're writing?
The instrumental
to
that I'm writing to, or the beats, all of that stuff, or the live music. I let that carry me.
Gotcha.
And so, you're talking about my song process, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I would
and that specific song. Yeah.
Oh, in that specific song. So I would, so I heard the music, and then I immediately knew there was something on my heart.
You knew the topic.
I knew the topic right away.
You got the
as soon as I heard the music,
right.
I heard the topic.
That happens for me, definitely.
And that happens, right? And that happens a lot because most of the time, I'm different now, but I would never speak on how I would feel
on these
fully.
Topics.
I never speak on them, so then they all come out very boom like that because they're sitting there waiting.
So why did you feel comfortable to go with those topics?
I didn't
on that song.
I didn't feel comfortable doing that, but I did.
Okay.
Honestly, in that moment, I really didn't.
But why'd you do it then? If you can pinpoint, you may not be able to answer, but it's there have been songs that I've written where it's I can still remember some of the verses that I've written that are my favorite verses, and I remember where I was when I wrote them and what that felt like and what that was like. And it's just interesting to me that I mean, we made a song together about the people in our lives that have passed away. And that was a weird song for me to make because I was talking about like my grandfather, and he hadn't even passed away yet, but I'm talking about him like he had passed away. Like it was a weird song, but like I had always tried to touch topics like that, and I never was able to until I met you, and until like we got into that song, and it was like, okay, like here's somebody else who has equally traumatizing experience, and we're on the same playing field. You know what I'm saying? And like that gave me more permission. So like, did it have to do with Teddy? Did it have to do with the beat, or like did you just feel like things maybe were happening in America at that point, and you were like, "Fuck it! Like I don't care if people know this side of me now." Like
I was very comfortable in the space that I was recording in.
Oh, okay.
And also, I think Teddy gave me some encouragement, and you know, oftentimes when I would start, when I would write, when I would start to do this sort of like sing rappy thing that I do,
right?
I never took myself serious, so I would never be able to like delve as deep. But Teddy kept telling me, like, if it comes out as a rap or if it comes out a little bit more rhythmic, just, like, go with it. You know, don't, like, hold back on that because you might mess around and miss something. So, you know, he again probably, like, reminded me that day, and I'm pretty sure I was just like, yeah, like, let's do this, you know?
Okay.
And so I actually recorded it once, and, you know, it was cool. And I knew that it, you know, we both kept saying like, wow, it's like missing something or whatever. And Teddy was like, you should put a Kenya on it. Because like Kenya also identifies with the LGBTQIA community.
God, now there's an IA?
There's an IA. Yes.
The Q is, the Q is everything. Whatever.
But it's the allies too.
Okay. It's long.
It's very long. And then.
So wait a minute. So. Let me just get this straight. So, you hear the beat, Teddy's making it for, like, fucking himself, probably. You hear the beat, you're like, fuck it, I'm gonna hop on this. Because that's just, like, you get that brotherly love and you're able to do shit like that. And, like, that's dope as fuck. So Teddy's like, so you start writing the song. Do you write the song from start to finish? Do you write the hook first? How does that work? For that
song, I wrote the hook first.
Okay.
Because I knew I recognized that it was anthemic.
Right.
So then, which led me to the hook, and then that led me to the rest of everything else. Yeah.
Got you.
I don't that changes. Yeah, it changes depending on the song. But for this particular song, I definitely wrote the chorus first.
So you write the chorus, and then you wrote the verse.
Yeah.
And then Teddy says, "You should throw a Kenya on us." You hit up a Kenya.
Yeah.
A Kenya hops on it in the same day?
No, that took... When he told me that a Kenya should be on it, I went away with that and, like, did nothing with that information for months.
Really?
Yeah, so this song was recorded for, like, a really long time. Like, a really, really long time.
So did you hesitate on releasing it, or was it just you just had other shit? Okay.
I definitely hesitated on releasing it.
Okay.
I think, like, I ended up, like... contacting her so many months later afterwards, and I had just sent her what we had recorded at first, and she was like, "Wow, that is dope!" Like,
nice.
And she's like, "Why haven't you like let me hear this? Like, this is." I don't even think Kenya knew how serious I was about music at that point. Like,
gotcha.
I don't even think I was telling people,
right.
You know. So she heard it, and she came over to the studio. I drove us, and we were in the studio, and she sang on the chorus and did ad libs and literally just slayed completely, like up the song a notch.
Yeah.
And I went in and I was doing, you know, I had to do. Teddy had recommended that I do the verses over.
Okay.
Because I was in a different space.
So hold up. So you had the recording. You waited 2 months until a Kenya came for the recording session, and then you were like, "Fuck it, I gotta do these over again."
Several months, not 2, but like
sure.
Yeah, it was like 6 months or something. But yes, so she came over. Yeah, and then that's when we recorded over.
The process. Note the process. If it's timeless, it's timeless. But just because the recording sounded good in that moment over there, doesn't mean it has to be that way. Doesn't mean it's officially done yet. It's done when you feel it's done. There are no deadlines to this shit.
Yeah.
Continue. Sorry.
Yeah, no, but that's very true. And, no, but she came over, and then I was, you know, Teddy said to redo the verses. So I was like, all right, here we go. And I did it, and I ended up tapping into something. I was ready to talk about that song. I was like ready to like be free and not care what anybody else thought of me. And I feel like, I don't know, like, it was just a moment where, like, I met the meaning of the song. Like,
Yes.
I was
Yes.
truthful in the song. And, you know, that's why you can hear in the second verse, it sounds like I'm, like, maybe crying or something like that. It's, like, at the end, and I get a little choked up, and it sounds like a little hiccup. That's actually me crying. And Kenya, I remember, so I finished, and we finished the whole song. I did, like, even extra ad-libs at the end, and we stopped the song, and then Kenya was like, oh my God, like, what? Like, I've never seen you like that, ever. And it was a great moment for us that we shared together, because it showed, you know, even people that were close to me, like a Kenya and Teddy at that time, like, how serious I, like, knew I was, thought I was, maybe had been pretending to be.
You
or
leveled
something,
up.
You know,
You leveled up in that
really,
moment.
like, took it serious, you know.
Yeah, dude.
And I was like, yeah, this is me, and I'm like, this is it. And it really, really gave way for some, like, a fresh sound or something like that. And it really helped me to define my sound.
Right.
So
that's why, like, you know, like, no matter what, whether you're an artist or not, like, I encourage people to at least, like, write down their thoughts, or to, like, write down, like, a vision of, like, what they, like, want to be, because it's, like, the power of not, it's, like, words combined with music, dude, it just makes something so powerful that can just shift. It can shift you, because it can shift your emotions, and then it can shift your mind, and it can shift the fuck out of you. And it's like, you understand that, I understand that, but like the power of the song you made, like, it helped you understand more who you were. You know what I mean? And it's like, that gift is available for everyone. Like, everyone can realize that gift if they just, like, allow their imagination to, like, flow. And you know, it happens differently for everyone, but it's like, ultimately, you know, I mean, I'm more on the side of, it comes down to the words. I think the words, like, unlock something in you, but at the same time, like, if it were not paired with music, you wouldn't have made those words. So it's like, it had to have happened that way. And it's you know, I hope it's the first of many songs for you that continue to, like, help you grow, because, like, that's like my fucking favorite part about, like, me rapping is, like, not only does it, like, make more confidence in me, and, like, I get to, like, step into, like, my, like, ultimate self and speak my piece, but it's like, I stumble upon shit sometimes. I'll be writing a verse, and, like, it gets taken a certain way, and I'm like, fuck it, let's follow it, like, alright, like, go. And then it's like, alright, like, I didn't know that, like, I had that perspective, or like I didn't know that I had that in me, or, like, it just shows you something about yourself. Talk to me about your influences. Whose music has shifted your world and, like, blown your fucking mind, you know?
Wow, a few people. I mean, just to, like, pay my respects, I feel like Luther Vandross, like, really inspired me. There's this group that my dad used to love, and I actually used to give my dad a hard time, and I used to call him a lame for listening to old music. I used to be like, you lame. And we used to go at it and stuff. And so they were called Kindred Soul, and they would like do a, they were like kind of like indie soul, not indie soul, but like, I forget what you call that category. But anyway, yeah, they were like very soulful and like in a really great group. Now I know that, but Music Soul Child, for his delivery and his artistry and his lyricism. Usher for his suaveness, like,
dude, Usher's like, I don't know if Usher's like underrated at this point. I don't know, like, what happened. I feel like, I don't know, like, but like, he's still like the greatest.
There's some people, I feel like there's some people you could just be like, you can tell people, oh wow, like there's no like no one's magical. Like Usher is a magical being.
In the game over 20 years, constant hits, just constant hits, like constant kinds of collaborations,
and like and also like constant is also like I would also say consistent, because like that's what you need to have like longevity in the music business, and you have to have the drive, and you have to keep that love like fresh,
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, he's gone through. I know a little bit about. I read like a few things I hear or whatever, but it seems like he's gone through a little bit in his life, or a lot in his life,
mm-hmm.
and like he's still doing it because it's like he loves it. You can tell,
Yeah.
like that's what it is that some people just can't touch. It's the like I feel like he has that. He has realized like what he's here to do.
Yes.
And has like really stepped into that.
Yeah, dude. I mean, like he tells like in the masterclass I'm taking, like the masterclass, like he tells like his whole life story, and it's just like fucking. Yeah, dude. He's built for this. He's so about it. Like he doesn't. He's giving me like mad game and like mad tips on just how to perform, and like everything he does is very coordinated on.
And I'm trying to think about who else. Okay, and so like nowadays, I mean, I've been itching to say this name, but like Frank Ocean.
Yeah.
Frank Ocean, like his courageousness catapulted me into like I don't know, just this. I don't know this great into this great way to be.
Right.
Like I don't know. I feel like he I don't know. He's never like he just puts it out there. He puts it out there for you, and he may also do some things that I love, and also that I'm just like Frank, but he likes to like. I feel like he'll like want you to like decode stuff sometimes too, like depending on like how
he work for
does.
a little bit sometimes.
Yeah. Which is nice because they may be like memories like specific to him.
Yeah.
So you really, I actually like will look up his lyrics and follow along.
Yeah.
And try and really understand like what it is he's meaning, and like I seriously
when I'm thinking about you.
Yeah.
Oh no.
Yeah, I seriously thank him for that, and I also thank him for the rejection of song form, because
he's got well
it's like
he's got unique structures.
He does him, and he is really like I think that like helped take my songwriting to another level, just like listening to him and like hearing an artist like him, and also being like like black like me. Like it was like something about both of those things where I was like, wow, like you mean like somebody else can like literally have a different sound, and it can be like all these different things. It can be like rock, and it could be like soul and like electronic, and that's okay.
Right.
Like it was just really dope. So he definitely inspires me to be myself and to create like make my own rules.
How if on a scale of 1 to 10, how highly would you like rate the importance of people to look up to in your life?
I think it's important because oftentimes those people that you look up to in your life are also like offering you support, and support is something that you need not only in this music industry but like in life. Even if you say that you are strong, we all absolutely at the end of the day need somebody.
Right.
A kind word, a kind gesture, or like a person to see. All of that is very important. So yeah, like 10.
Word. So hold on, I'm just gonna grind up this weed. I know it's gonna like make a lot of noise. It's gonna be like loud as fuck. I'm gonna compress this part better in the audio portion. talk to the people a little bit about. So you're working on an LP.
Yes.
So far, you have no official albums released under your name, correct?
I have an EP.
You have the EP out.
Yeah, I have an EP that's out.
Okay. Where can people find that?
You can find that
On your website.
I'll let you know where you can find that at a later time. It's a time.
It's not on SoundCloud?
No.
You took it down?
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
So right now you just have Free Flag out? Is that the only song?
I have Freak Flag out. I have Troopers out.
Oh, you got Troopers out.
Yeah, and I have some like other like covers on SoundCloud.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
We're about to drop a song. It's coming soon.
Yes.
Okay.
So.
Which, by the way, so just real quick, me and my homie here had a really fire album that we put together, but because of conflicting schedules and stuff and money that had to get allocated elsewhere in both of our careers, it's coming a little bit later than expected. But we got a song coming, and it's for it's for the people that are out there trying to get freaky. You know what I mean? They're trying to get a little bit jiggy. You know what I mean? They're trying to make these hoes wet in the front row. Let's just cut to the chase. And so that's coming soon. But probably prior to that, my man's got the LP coming, and it's looking like the end of June.
Like production and stuff. Yeah, like around that time, I hope to be done. I've recorded.
Are you gonna drop another single?
I've recorded the album a lot, or a lot of the album. Yes, I am going to drop another single.
Okay. The fans are waiting. All right.
Yeah.
I see them now. Now they're on Twitter and they're coming for you now.
Yeah.
They're waiting on it.
Yeah.
I'm waiting on it.
So there will be another one very soon. It's just about picking that out, and that's what I'm doing right now. I just got back from tour, and so I'm just like now I am refocusing
Gotta get
myself.
back on the main grind.
Even though while I was on tour, not to my own horn, but I was definitely the first person up every day.
Dude, no. I mean,
one of the last people to go to sleep because I was working while I was on tour, so I didn't even sleep. So it's like now I'm like,
and you gained a lot of new fans.
Yeah, it was really awesome. It was really awesome. I got to like be connected to a lot of like really cool.
You went to my fucking hometown and performed.
I did,
and people said it was cream.
There were some fans. They were
awesome.
I mean? So awesome.
So, what is the inspiration with the official first LP?
The inspiration for the album is growth.
Is it an extension of the EP? Is it in any way related to the EP that you previously released?
In a way, yeah. The first one that I released is called Chanson du Cœur, which is like Songs of the Heart. And it's like a very, very shittily recorded 5-track thing. Because it was like in my friend's dorm room.
It's gotta happen though, dude.
You know what I'm saying? But I love it for what it is. Like, it's just not mixed well and mastered. And I think when I can, I will have that happen.
Yeah, and it makes a huge difference.
Yeah, and so I think. I'm sorry. What was the question?
Your eyes up. But your team's in place. You're working on it. It's coming soon. Is the point?
Yes. And the point of the album.
You said growth.
Is growth. It's
gotcha.
called Redirected, and it's a play on this thing that would happen when I was in college called redirection, where I was a musical theater major, and if the faculty felt in any way that you were underperforming or not moving as fast enough,
they would redirect
you
to a new major.
They were like often redirect you like not out of theater completely, but you'd be what they call like a
backup
BA theater, like Bachelor of Arts instead of like Bachelor of Fine Arts, So there was this BFA versus BA thing. And so
I'm a BA.
There was honestly and there's nothing wrong with it. There was this whole like complex of like I am a BFA, which therefore makes me better, or like there was something that we were doing to ourselves that we put these weights and these pressures on ourselves.
Gotcha.
You know what I'm saying? And I decided, long story short, like through that, to never let those 2 letters define me. And so I was able to still be cast in shows. I was able to like go to showcase after school with like all the BFA like majors and shit.
Okay.
So it was like, pretty cool. So like there's a play on that in the album. A little bit, not too much.
Gotcha. Cool.
But
so a little bit of the past.
That's where the name comes from.
Gotcha.
Solely. And then
how many tracks are you thinking?
Between 10 and 12, 10 or 12.
Okay.
Right now, it's looking more like 10.
Sweet.
It's funny because I had a listening party a few months ago, and like things have been recorded for a while, but when you're inspired by other things, you change directions a little bit, and you want to put your best foot forward. You don't want to just put something out. But I'm confident that these new sounds that I have are just what I need to like tie this thing up. So I'm ready. I'm ready to share at some point.
As far as the production on it, what's it looking like?
Like who?
Yeah, like who's been contributing to the beats?
Teddy Jackson, of course.
Okay.
Then there is a friend of mine named Derek Allen who works out of the.
Wait, Jackson? That dude I saw on stage with Chance at the ESPYs?
Yes.
That guy. Oh, okay. All right. Just want to make sure.
Yes. And
The guy I saw, in that picture with Jay-Z?
Yes.
Oh, okay. He's out here beating up. Okay.
And then
Just wanna make
there's
sure.
I'm trying to think. Derek works for the Chicago Recording Company, CRC. That's what it's called.
Okay.
So he does that like part time, and is like I met him through a fraternity brother. And then who else is there's this guy I met, Deme Flock, and I'm trying to think, is there somebody else on it? Hopefully some other people. I'm hoping to have a few like other names if they will have me, and we're working on that. But that's who's on it right now.
Sweet.
So I'm really excited about that, and that these people, or a handful of them, or at least half of them, are from Chicago, which is nice. So.
Yes. And by the way, speaking of people that are coming out of Chicago that have talent, just saw the XXL freshman list for the cover, and Noname's on it. Vote for Noname if you're seeing this right now. Or Smino, or just anybody else from the Shy. Support Chicago because we're apparently the only ones on the list that don't fucking suck. Whack MCs need to fucking quit. That's just my opinion. You don't have to agree with me, but they need to stop. So let's talk a little bit more about. let's light this up and talk a little bit more about craft.
Craft.
Yeah.
Craft.
I want to talk about craft. You got the letter? You didn't steal the letter.
Where is it? Oh, there it is. Yep.
What was the first song that you wrote that, or rather, yeah, what was the first time you ever wrote a song, and why did you write that song?
The first time I ever wrote a song?
Yeah.
Okay, so the first time that I ever wrote a song was when my mom got me this journal from this book fair, and it was called The Guide to Songwriting. And inside of this book, there were different prompts to help you, become a songwriter, to help with like different exercises, like write about a happy time in your life, or it's your birthday, like write a song. I don't know, it would just be like guided things. And so there was one that was saying write a song about tragedy. And there had recently been the 9/11 bombings and stuff,
Did you hear that? He said bombings. Okay?
Uh-oh.
Because remember Tower 7. Never forget.
Uh-oh.
Never forget. It was a setup. Fuck you, Bush.
Uh-oh. I actually might have just slipped that off. Or slipped that out because my uncle made me watch this whole, like, other
It was
like,
a conspiracy
like thing. Right after, I only watched, like, the first 10 minutes
They
because I
weren't
was
bombs,
like, please
alright?
stop.
They were planes.
There were planes, as far as I know. I don't know. Anyway.
It's all in the past.
But no, I wrote this song about 9/11, and I wrote it from the perspective of a little girl or child or boy in like a third world country, like feeling like, you know, like they have no food, no water, no whatever, no need to leave, no need to like live or anything like that, like from a really like anguished place.
Right.
And then I was comparing that feeling to 9/11.
Right.
And like I don't know.
And how much worse they feel?
No,
on
like
a daily basis?
No. Oh, wow, that came out completely wrong.
No, I know. No, I'm just fucking with you. I'm just
no, it really did. It did come out wrong because like
you were comparing and contrasting like you felt like it was just as bad.
Yeah.
Right, but now that we're older, we know that it's probably worse for them.
I mean that's what I thought about back. That's what I thought back. Wow, that actually sounds really bad when you think about it. No, but like
We're in the first world.
I mean,
We're
yeah.
the winners of the race.
I guess I was just like, no, it wasn't even. I don't know. I think not. I think it had nothing. The song had nothing to do with 9/11. It just had to deal with this third world country and like just like people not taking care of the world in general.
Okay.
But 9/11 affected like my writing.
It was the motivation.
It was the motivation for the writing.
Gotcha,
Yes.
gotcha. Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
So it was like the words were like, looking out the window, what do I see? A bunch of. It was looking out the window, what do I see? A bunch of thousand faces looking at me. People have
How do you remember that?
People have families all over the world, lots of thousand boys and lots of girls. We are the people of this world, and nothing can destroy that. We are the people of this world. Who are they going to destroy next?
Ooh!
And that's what I literally like wrote.
Bars. When did you write that?
I wrote that in the 4th grade. 4th grade.
Nice.
And I was like, just.
I remember something very similar happening to me.
I mean, you know, it's pretty. You know, I was surrounded by these things. You know, like current events was something like around that time that we couldn't get away from. You know, because it was like on TV and stuff. You know, and like media was like really like starting back then. I feel like so.
Yep.
It was like I really couldn't get away from it, and yeah, it just that song came at a really great time. That was a great journal. I forget even like if that was the real name of it, the Guide to Songwriting, because like it's a book that I would definitely love to have again. It was at the Scholastic Book Fair, so I don't know.
Dude. I feel like education's actually gotten worse in our lifetime.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think teachers maybe have gotten better. I think teachers may be better. But like the education I think has just gotten actually worse. Mm-hmm. I don't fucking
You are almost better being homeschooled in a way. And like, you know, like having designated time for you to like read and like go through all of these subjects.
Yeah, but what would that do to your social life?
Well, then you'd have to
You
have
know what I mean?
extracurricular activities.
Like, right, but like, yeah, I know, but it's just like...
Because there are people that do that. I did know some people who, like, their parents, like, were focused on the social as well as the
That's really good. I mean...
Yeah. So they took dance and they were in the plays and shit.
Right, yeah. That would be
and
good.
they were homeschooled, yeah.
That would be good.
It can work. I mean, it's definitely different. It's, like, it's definitely not my first choice. Like, I don't want to have to, like, say that. You know, I just want it to get better, obviously. But it's going to take, you know, time and people, like, understanding.
There was a little kid who thought that MLK freed the slaves. How does that happen? What's going on there? I don't know. What does that say? like, what is that? I don't know. Like, fuck. Like,
yeah, that's pretty...
People are teaching the wrong... Like, I don't know. Like, fuck. I don't know. Is that like a bad article? Like, shit. The internet confuses things. Like, it makes it easier to find facts. I get, you know, you can get data so easily, but you can also get wrong data so easily.
I think it also makes it easier to like judge because you're seeing it instead of understanding.
Right.
Because you're judging maybe a situation or like a scene or a moment from
It's a
like
clip.
a person's life,
Right.
without knowing anything else about that person.
Right, but you could even get a clip of somebody's life in person, and that would be better than you just getting the clip of it and you digesting whatever happened in your own mind and only your mind, rather than like with someone else around. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's why it's like the people that I grew up around, dude. Like a lot of them are still in Pennsylvania, and I just like live. I mean, if you're gonna live in Pennsylvania or wherever you grew up, fine. But like, at least like move away from where you grew up and like see just like what other people are like. You know what I mean? Like see what like a different place is like and like what different people are like. It can teach you a lot about yourself and a lot about just how diverse just our country is huge and it's diverse as fuck. And some people just stay where they grew up and they stay in the same mindset.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You're right about that.
Noname.
Yes, I do.
Noname.
Yeah, I know.
So, where do you see yourself going in the next, couple of years? Like I mean, where do you want to end up?
So my goal or where I want to end up is, I see myself writing songs. I see myself touring. I see myself speaking to to kids, to teenagers, and helping them realize that writing is a tool, and it is a good way to deal with some of the problems that you may not be able to talk about. I feel like writing could save a lot of like young adults, So, I would like to do that. I want to, just keep putting like good like music and love into the world, and and then if I meet Frank Ocean in between that at some point, like that's cool too.
But by the time you're done, like, I mean, I guess, are you trying to be the next Frank Ocean? Like, are you trying to be like a huge star?
I'm definitely not trying to be a next huge star. I'm just being me, and if the people feel that like they want to follow me on this journey and like what I'm doing in my life, which is just living honestly as me and for me, right. 100%, like that's so cool. I know that obviously like my music is probably not going to be for everybody, but I'm so excited at the people that have already like come aboard.
Yeah.
And if it was only for those people, I would still be happy. And so if that comes, like that's cool, and I guess we'll have to deal with that when that comes. But like, I feel like, I just see myself like being out here and active in the community, like helping and not seeing our schools lose their art programs. I think that's a terrible idea. I think that through the arts is like the best way to harness like your best sense of self. 'Cause like so much about the arts is about being truthful and like just like letting it be. I feel like, and I think a lot of other professions or things can like hinder you from that. And like so having art in your life allows you to
to like have both.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Like it just, I feel so much better going. Like if I had to go work a 9 to 5 for whatever reason, that I wouldn't lose myself completely because I wouldn't allow that to happen to me because I'm so connected with the art that's inside of me, and that's where my truth is. So that's just, yeah, I don't know. I hope that other people like see that and see that I actually care about, you know, creating a like a safe place for, you know, all people to just like be free to talk about things without feeling like they have to like bite each other's heads off. You know?
Yeah.
I think we can all exist in a community and like still have discord because that's normal, but we don't have to like have so much gun violence and like, you know what I'm saying? Like better decisions can be made if we're allowed to talk about them in open, safe spaces.
Yes.
So, I think that would just be really cool. I think that'd be really cool.
Would you ever act again? Would you be in a film?
Yeah.
If somebody presented the right screenplay?
Yeah, I think I would. I love acting, and I think that, you know, I could be anxious to you know, do a little something soon. I would hope that it would be TV. I love that, and I would love to delve into that.
You want to be in an episode?
Yeah.
Which show?
If I could pick any show.
Empire.
Well, I was a background on Empire. I think they got the back of my head in there.
Nice.
To be honest, so
Oh,
I
yeah.
mean, like, you know,
But you know which episode?
it was like very early. I was like season 1, episode 4.
Look for the back of his head in
Something like
season
that.
1.
Yeah, check
It's
check
not
for
this
that.
hairstyle.
Check for that.
It's not that hairstyle.
It's not this hairstyle.
Okay.
It's a little bit more tame. And damn, yeah, I'm trying to think about what show that I'm watching right now that I'll be like, man, like I would love to be in that show. I would have to say,
Man, I've been watching The Leftovers. It's so fun.
man, if I could actually be a character on Shameless, that would be so dope. Like they really like, you know, like that one line that they used to say about Degrassi, "We go there." You know, like they actually say that.
No, I don't know anything about
Alright, so
either show, really.
So who's ever hearing this, like whatever, you know, you say that Degrassi always goes there. That's the show that Drake was on.
Right, yeah, I know. In the
Yeah.
wheelchair.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, they did some racy stuff on that show, and they in Shameless, the acting is so connected, is so raw, and I love it. Like I'm so addicted to it because it's like a real family with real problems. It seems, you know, definitely.
What's it about?
Shameless is about this like poor, mostly white family that lives on the south side of Chicago. And so there's I forget the actors' names. I'm so bad at names sometimes. But yeah, there's a family, and like the mom and dad are strung out on drugs and drunks. So they left, you know, the responsibilities of the house to the oldest daughter. So she basically raised them and sacrificed a lot of her own childhood for them.
Gotcha.
And so yeah, there's just like, you know, and then like everything that happens because of that, you know. But it's a good show. It's a good show. It's a good show. I would definitely want to be on that show.
That's it. Well, I'm stoned.
Are you?
I'm definitely stoned. Stoned as hell. And I'm a little bit buzzed. A little crunk up in y'all. Where you going? Your phone? Where you on Twitter?
I got a text message.
We're recording right now. People are watching.
The people are watching.
People are watching and they're listening
watching.
and they're going to hear this in the future. Until the end of time.
Until the end of time.
So, let them know what they need to know. What do they need to know, Deme? What do the fucking people need to know? Tell them. Or else I'm going to have to tell them.
Alright. The people need to know that I am a dedicated individual to my craft, and I love what I do, and I put love into the world, and I want to see everybody do better. Shameless plug. But also, seriously, do better.
Trooper, stand up.
And yeah, no, I really do. I want to do my music. I love, it's just very simple. I want to see people follow their dreams as, fearlessly as I chase mine. I want to keep being that example to show that you can do it no matter where you come from. No matter what your disadvantages are, you have to learn how to take them and make them into advantages that work for you. And when you don't see the whole world as beating up on you, you're able to see a little bit clearer and go down the path. It's very simple. Everything just will keep lining up, and there'll be bumps on the way, but you'll still have your goal and your focus in mind. So that's my headspace, and that's why I want people to know about me. Or I'm a lot of fun. I'm a cheap date if you want to buy me some drinks or something, because after 2 drinks, that's it for me. I'm trying to think if there's.
I'm gonna tell you what else they need to know. We on the rise. Some shit is coming. Motherfuckers are not aware. They gonna be aware. Alright? Sorry, I gotta get ratchet for a second. Gotta get ratchet. When my head starts going back and forth, that's how you know that I'm ratchet like this. I'll be doing this like this.
Yes.
Alright, and a lot of talent in Chicago. It's coming strong. I hope, the rap game knows it. I hope the R&B game knows it. Because there's a lot of talent here that does not rely on, gimmicks or, no bullshit. A lot of truth coming from a lot of artists around here. It was a pleasure having you on the podcast.
No doubt. Thank
you. And, in the future, maybe many episodes down the line, you'll come back on again and we'll talk about other things. We'll talk about politics and shit like that, and we'll get into other subjects away from craft. But this has been another edition of the Ebon Flow podcast. Where can the people find you? Where can they follow you? Where can they get in contact with you?
They can find me at Deme Truest on all social media. That's DEME, and then Truest, like the truest, everywhere, anywhere, find me.
Okay.
Yes.
Word. I'll have his links posted up, and you can follow me at Kid Hartha, and check out kidhartha.com for the Twitch streams, my alter ego Max Inevitable. You can check out the Ebon Flow podcast, how-to series coming soon, and stay focused. Stay focused. If there's any artists watching this, stay focused. You know what I mean? And if you're not focused, and if you're having trouble staying focused, meditate, because meditating will teach you how to focus more and easier and more quickly, or however the fuck it's said.
Quicker.
Fucked up. Turn. Ebon Flow, episode 3. Peace.